Welcome to the annual Memorial Day service presented by the Madison chapter of Veterans for Peace. This is the Clarence Kalin chapter, chapter 25, and we'll have more about Clarence Kalin in just a little bit. First, just some housekeeping announcements. We would ask that you do wear masks. If at all possible, please do, except when speaking, perhaps. There are bathrooms downstairs. The air conditioning is working well this year, and that's a relief. Whoa! Let's hear it for the city of Madison. And so we are asking you to keep the doors closed. Had one other thing. Right, we are recording. So if you're on the witness protection program, keep your masks up high. Thanks, Norm. We will find this service on YouTube this evening. Look for the Progressive channel on YouTube. That's youtube.com/theprogressive. And you'll find us there this evening and forever. I am Larry Orr. I am from chapter 25, and I'll be your MC today. I'm trying to fill the shoes of David Giffey. You know that's a big job. David and Nancy are not with us today. They're at home. They'll be watching tonight. They send their best greetings and wishes for peace, and we'll see them again soon. I would like to introduce at this time Father David Cooper, member of Veterans for Peace, who will give the invocation.
Thanks, Larry. You hear me all right back there? Thanks. So I'd like to start today with a little meditation. It comes from someone I think we all know of, and that is from Thich Nhat Hanh, who died this past year. And you might say, what is a Christian doing reading things from Buddhism? And I say, well, why not? Thank you. As we are together praying for peace, let us be truly with each other. Let us pay attention to our breathing. Let us be relaxed in our bodies and our minds. Let us return to ourselves and become wholly ourselves. Let us be aware of the source of being common to us all and to all that is. Evoking the presence of the great companion, let us fill our hearts with our own compassion towards ourselves and toward all living beings. Let us pray that all living beings realize that they are all nourished from the same source of life. Let us pray that we ourselves cease to be the cause of needless suffering. Let us pray that we may live in a way which will not needlessly deprive other living beings of air, water, food, shelter, or the chance to live in health. With reverence for life and with awareness of the sufferings that are going on around us, let us pray for the establishment of peace in our hearts and on earth. Thich Nhat Hanh. And now I would like to just do a poem that I wrote for this occasion. It's called No War. We've heard that before, haven't we? Here we go again, never enough. We who have faithfully served, protected others with honor, now stand by, aging, wondering, a war against children at home, slaughtered with weapons of war. Then Ukraine. Shards of slicing, piercing steel, same old, again and again. We know what needs to be done to act, to serve, to protect. Stop what you are doing. Stop, no more. We will not permit our children to be slaughtered in classrooms, on playgrounds. We will not stand by. We will not watch human living bodies explode, go up in smoke in other lands. Our neighbors. There is no just war. Just stop. Stop. You know this is wrong. Нет войны. Нет войны. Больше нет войны. No war, no war, no more war. In schools, in parks, homes, churches, stop. Stop, no more of this. We, our earth, are fragile. We are special, unique, riding a small blue dot in the universe, filled with consciousness, life, love, our galaxies, billions, trillions. We to be cherished, not obliterated. Нет войны. Нет войны. Больше нет войны. No war. No war. No more war. Больше никакой глобальной войны.
Thank you, Father David. If you were in Madison during the turbulent times in 2011, the uprising at the Capitol, you benefited from the presence of Father David earlier during the very turbulent times of the Vietnam protests, when he came on board as the Madison police chief and changed the culture of the police force. Fewer heads got broken. Thank you very much. I got a good laugh from him in 2011. I suggested that he might consider running for governor. Boy, did he get a laugh. I would have voted for you. At this time, I will read the statement of purpose for Veterans for Peace. We, having dutifully served our nation, do hereby affirm our greater responsibility to serve the cause of world peace. To this end, we will work with others toward increasing public awareness of the costs of war, to restrain our government from intervening overtly and covertly in the internal affairs of other nations, to end the arms race and to reduce and eventually eliminate nuclear weapons, to seek justice for veterans and victims of war, to abolish war as an instrument of national policy. To achieve these goals, members of Veterans for Peace pledge to use nonviolent means and to maintain an organization that is both democratic and open, with the understanding that all members are trusted to act in the best interest of the group for the larger purpose of world peace. Thank you. At this time, we'll have some remarks from Norman Stockwell, publisher of the Progressive magazine, relating to our namesake, Clarence Kalin.
Thanks very much. It's great to be here again in person, as we have not been for the last few years. Thanks, everyone, for coming out today. On this very stage, for Clarence Kalin's 90th birthday, we had a celebration in this room, and one of the things that he said at that time was, we've got a lot of work to do, and I think that that's now as true or more true than it ever was. There's a wonderful book available in the entryway. You probably saw it as you came in. You'll see it as you go out. It's called Long Shadows, Veterans' Paths to Peace, and it was put together by David Giffey a number of years ago now interviewing a series of veterans, some of whom are in this room today, some of whom are no longer with us. And Clarence is the first interview in the book, being the veteran from the longest time ago. In February of 1937, Clarence Kalin arrived in Spain as part of a group of volunteers going to fight against fascism before World War II. And Clarence says he came from pacifist roots, and so it was unusual that he should be going into a war. But here's what he says in his interview. He says, "We understood that the defeat of fascism in Spain was a necessity if World War II was to be avoided. It makes a great deal of difference if you know what you're doing there, if you know why you went to war. Of course, after having been there, after having been there, everyone wants to avoid war at all costs because it's so destructive to everybody. World War I, people were worked up into a frenzy to go defend our country and all this kind of stuff, war hysteria, many of them shell-shocked from their experiences, which were so terrible. In Spain, we had no training, but we had a good, firm understanding of what war was about. Our fight was a fight against fascism. From our standpoint, it was an anti-fascist war." When I went to Spain, my reasoning was purely political. I saw the dangers of fascism, which were very real, and this drove me to it. From listening to Vietnam veterans and seeing various movies, I would say they had a very different experience than I did. In part, the nature of the war, and in part because they were deceived in why they went to war. Here at home, it's easy to see this pattern of dirty politics. Since World War II, the United States was illegally involved in Vietnam, killing at least 2 million people and laying waste to the land, to say nothing about the tens of thousands of Americans who died in that war. We spent at least $150 billion for no reason except trying to restore the old French colonial system. We killed probably an equal number in the secret bombing of Cambodia. Must I mention the overthrow of Chile and the years of terror that followed that? There have been many examples where the United States struck with impunity. I'm thinking of Grenada, Panama, Yugoslavia, the attacks on Cuba, the billions we spent in Afghanistan. How about the mess we created in Iraq, the struggle for oil and empire? Paying just for that could solve many of our pressing social needs here at home. This is why I've become more and more of a pacifist. We must find nonviolent political ways to resolve international problems. This is one of the reasons, Clarence says, that I joined Veterans for Peace. And this, again, the Clarence Kalin chapter of Veterans for Peace, celebrating today, this Memorial Day. Thank you. And don't forget to take a copy of this book as you go out the door. You can have it and share it with your friends, and there's wonderful, wonderful stories in here.
All right, well, it's been a couple of years, and we're going to do some things we've done before, a couple new things, and but this one seems to be a tradition, and we welcome you to sing along. Down by the riverside. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside. down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Ain't gonna study war no more, 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 ain't gonna study war no more. I'm gonna try on my long white robe, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna try out my long white robe, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Ain't gonna study war no more, 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 ain't gonna study war no more. Little harmonica. Everybody join hands with me, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. We're gonna join hands with everyone, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Ain't gonna study war no more, 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 ain't gonna study war no more. Thank you. All right. So somebody asked us to see if we could do this Phil Oakes tune. We're going to give it a shot, and it's a pretty interesting tune. You know, he was sort of a different kind of guitar player. He's sort of hard to follow. If you've ever tried to learn his tunes, he's throwing all kinds of A minors and D minors, all kinds of things in there, like passing chords and stuff.
Yeah.
And then his structures were a little different. But you know, those were the days of trying to be different too.
Typical folk singer.
Yeah. They got their own thing going on.
A lot of confusion back there in the 60s, I tell you.
Didn't have a drummer or bass, so you can do anything you want. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4.
I remember how it goes now. I marched to the battles of New Orleans at the end of the early British wars. Young nations started growing and young blood started flowing, but I ain't marching anymore. Well, I've killed a dozen Indians and a fighter more. I was at the Little Big Horn. Heard many men lying, I heard many men dying, but I ain't marching anymore. Oh, it's always the old that lead us into war, and it's always the young who fall. Now look at all we've won with a saber and a gun. Tell me, is it worth it all? Well, I stole California from the Mexican land, and I fought in our bloody Civil War. Yes, I killed my own brothers and oh so many others, but I ain't marching anymore. For I marched to the battles in the German trench, in a war that was bound to end all wars. Oh, I must have killed 1 million, and now they want me back again, but I ain't marching anymore. Yes, it's always the old that lead us into war, and it's always the young who fall. Now look at all we won with a saber and a gun, and tell me, is it worth it all? Then I flew the final mission over the Japanese skies. I set off a mighty mushroom roar. And when I saw the cities burning, well, I knew that I was learning that I can't march no more. So I'll stand in battle of no man's land, but I know what I'm standing for. Call it peace or call it reason, call it just what I believe in, but I ain't marching anymore. No, I ain't marching anymore.
All right.
It worked.
All right, well, we're going to go on with the speakers, I guess. We had a couple songs there, and we'll have a couple more later on. So there we go.
At this time, I would ask all members of Veterans for Peace, Chapter 25, their family members to stand while Darrell Sherman reads the list of our members who have passed before us. Darrell?
Please rise. We honor the memories of our Chapter 25 Veterans for Peace members who have died in recent years. Clarence Kalin, Joy Camarano, Jim Ellsworth, Sidney Podell, Dr. James Allen, Jeff Goldstein, Charles Sweet, Dr. Eugene Farley, Joel Galswick, John Olinger, Ed Garvey, Don McKeating, William Mueller, Tom Kemble, Robert Judell, Robert Kimbrough, Roger Chapman, Lars Pripp, Dorothy Williams, Roger Garms. To this list, we add the name of Judith Clare, who died in 2020. Judith was a friend and a loyal supporter of the Abraham Lincoln Brigade and Veterans for Peace.
Thank you, Daryl. Well, here are some names from a happier list. Every year, Chapter 25, thank you so much. Chapter 25 awards scholarships to graduating seniors on the basis of an essay that they write on the topic of peace. Thanks to the hard work of David Giffey and our treasurer and founding member, Paul McMahon, in 2022, Veterans for Peace Chapter 25 is awarding a total of $4,750 in scholarships to rural high school students. The overall winner this year is Sandeep Sankar of Dodgeville High School. Other essay writers winning our scholarships this year are Madeline Hutnick, Stephanie Limay, and Benjamin Whitaker of River Valley High School, Will Orritt and Tyler Bradley of Dodgeville High, Abrianna Brown of Boscobel High School, Aiden Culver of Richland Center High School, Devin Brabender, Taylor Brown, Kylie Doherty, and Libby Lewis Reindl of Wisconsin Heights High School, and Alice Davies of Baraboo High School. Sandeep wrote that as he grew up, he found that his cultural background allowed him to empathize with others because of the differences, not despite them. Would that more people in our country could feel that. Congratulations, students. Onwards you go. Make the world a better place. So at this... And on behalf of those students, and I must say I work with quite a few elementary school students, and there is hope. Better times can come. I think it's going to happen. So at this point, we will pass the hat. If you would like to help us continue our scholarships, work for our programs, and please do join us in our projects around town. But if you would please, a little bit of contribution would be nice. If you can't, don't worry about it. We're glad you're here. Thank you so much. Our featured speaker today is Garrett Reppenhagen, the Executive Director of Veterans for Peace. What a resume. I'm just amazed. He's the son of a Vietnam veteran, the grandson of 2 World War II veterans. He served in the U.S. Army as a cavalry scout sniper in the 1st Infantry Division. He completed a deployment in Kosovo on a 9-month peacekeeping mission and a combat tour in Iraq. He gained an honorable discharge in May of 2005 and began working as a veterans advocate and a dedicated activist. He served as chairman of the board of Iraq Veterans Against the War, worked in Washington, D.C. as a lobbyist, and as vice president for public relations for the Nobel Prize-winning Veterans for America, as program director for Veterans Green Jobs, and was the Rocky Mountain director for Vet Voice Foundation. He began his work for peace while still in uniform. That is not an easy life. It is an honor to introduce Garrett Reppenhagen.
Well, it's an honor being out here. I want to thank the Veterans for Peace chapter here in Madison for helping me get this way. Speaking on Memorial Day is a tough one for me. I'm filled with so many mixed feelings. I lost friends and members of my unit in Iraq, and I've lost many more since then after coming home. More, in fact, have died of suicide and other issues after returning back to the States. Members of my unit have been incarcerated, have been homeless, have struggled with addiction. We forget we forget them on Memorial Day. And we forget the victims of war often. And the whole glorification of war, memorializing, and martyring the people who have died. We forget about the folks who unwillingly hosted military violence in their countries. And as a former sniper, I'm reeked with moral injury. It's been a constant struggle since coming home, and I knew I was being impacted, although I didn't have a name for it, while I was still in Iraq serving as a sniper. I wish I had the courage to stop fighting, to lay down my rifle. I really think that I've been struggling ever since to win back my soul. And when Larry said I was working for peace while I was a sniper still in Iraq, I was writing an anti-war blog. It wasn't massive. I was the first active duty member of Iraq Veterans Against the War while I was still in Iraq. But it's difficult times. We live in a war culture. We're constantly bombarded by thank you for your service and 50% mattress sales and backyard barbecues. And that's what Memorial Day is to a lot of people. And we deserve a break from capitalism and from the monotony and from the systems that we've created that are oppressing us and pushing us into war. I do wish veterans a happy Memorial Day, because God, I wish the whole world a happy day. Every single day should be happy and should be peaceful for everyone in the world. That's why we're working for liberation, global liberation from military violence. And now it's coming home, Well, it's been home. A lot of people who live in marginalized communities and are struggling to have a voice in this nation know that the violence has always been there. And, I'm a perpetrator of that violence. There's a connection of the violence at war and the violence at home. We talk a lot about the conditioning of a service member and how we use derogatory terms for our enemies to make it easier to kill them. But that's not happening isolated in the military. That's already happening here at home. Before I even joined the military, I'm being conditioned for that mindset to be a racist. And our racism and our American exceptionalism allows us to commit atrocities overseas, and it allows us to commit atrocities here at home. Now we have children in Texas and children in Buffalo that have more combat experience than most veteran Marine Corps riflemen I know. I had to explain to my 7-year-old before going to school, before going to elementary school, a 7-year-old, about active shooter drills. They call them, in their school, they call them out-of-sight drills. Stay out of sight. That's what we're having to train 7-year-olds in our schools. And I think about the children that I have killed. I have killed children, I am no different than that person that walked into that school or walked into that market in Buffalo. I've committed atrocities myself. There was a pathway to peace for me, and there's a pathway to peace for our society. If we work for it, it's a struggle, That's why we're here. It's not easy to come into this space and, listen to these hard things and organize and be an activist. That's why we call it a struggle. It's much easier to stay at home on a day off, cook a nice meal, watch some TV or a sports game. But we're here, and I thank all of you for being here. I decided to wear this shirt today rather than a regular Veterans for Peace t-shirt. I think we have to do something here in the United States about the growing moralization of political violence and racial violence. You know, we have to confront it. What better voice than military veterans that already have the credibility and the privilege? You know, although I reject it as much as I can, I still live on this weird polarization of trying to use that privilege to do good things while wishing I could just reject it and go home and forget I was ever a veteran. You know, I don't want to be thanked for my service, but I'll use it if I can for the betterment of this world. I mean, God, I got to win my soul back somehow. You know, so let's use that privilege as military veterans and get into schools and talk to our communities about racial violence and about the othering that occurs. We're headed into Pride Month, you know, and you know it just makes me think that we have to come together as a community to support people who are being othered, because that's where violence starts. That's where that moralization of violence starts, is when people are being othered and nobody stands up and says stop. You know, that's unacceptable. That's not how we treat people, and you know, I hope we can do that through Veterans for Peace more. So this Memorial Day, boy, you know, we've come a long way. I remember sitting in Iraq, and you know, most of my friends died far away from where I was. I was usually on sniper missions with the earbud in, listening to the Singar radio, hearing reports. You'd hear a boom far off in the city or in a village, and I was usually safely hiding on a roadside or, you know, in a field waiting for mortarmen or rockets to attack our bases so I could take them out. So most of my friends I lost while listening to them on the radio, you know, calling for, you know, contact, you know, and sometimes you'd hear the crackle of small arm fire or more booms of RPGs, and you'd learn later that, you know, you'd lose somebody, and then you know, we all come home and we're struggling not only with the friends that we lost, but the people that we have killed. In the U.S. military, they train us how to kill very well. I was exceptional at it. I was very good. But they never taught me how to deal with taking a life and what that does to your soul. They never talked to you about that. It took me years before I heard the term moral injury. You know, I had to learn it through a friend who was teaching therapy in the Maryland prison system to rapists and murderers. It was called perpetrator-induced trauma syndrome. You know, the VA didn't tell me about that. My country didn't tell me about that. My drill instructor certainly didn't tell me about that. You know, and they don't teach you what it's like to lose a friend. You come to grips with your own mortality quickly. When you consider serving your nation in the military, you have thoughts of your own mortality, and then you do a right of attorney and your insurance and, you know, all your last will, and you know, you're thinking about your own mortality. But you make, I didn't get along with probably 99% of the people I served with. I'm gonna be honest. But that 1%, man, I loved them. And I would have never had the opportunity to meet them and fall in love with them as friends if I didn't serve with them, if I wasn't stuck with endless hours of you know, guard duty and, you know, gate guard and, you know, barracks duty and all this stuff where you just get to know these people that literally watch your back. And then to lose them is crippling. I wish I had the opportunity to meet all the folks in the communities that I've harmed. I wish I could meet their mothers and talk to them the way I've talked to some of my friends' mothers here at home. But here we are, Memorial Day, and we're celebrating peace, and we're working towards it. And the Madison chapter of VFP has been working at it for a long time. And all the members that were read, man, that list is growing, isn't it? We've got to get some fresh blood in this movement, into the peace movement. And, you know, we got to do it before it's too late, before tragedy strikes, because it's tragedy that drives people to the peace movement. It's our job to do it before that happens. So let's build a powerful one. And I know, Madison, you've been at it for a long time, and you've got great legacy and great history. So I'll be watching you for advice on how to get it done, because I know you'll be there. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate the chance to talk to you, and thanks for listening.
So thank you so much, Garrett. And may your words and thoughts help us to heal, help us to take the healing outward, help us to create peace. Thank you. And back to Old Cool.
All right. Hey. So, yeah. Got a couple more tunes for you. Let's do I'm a Pilgrim. I always like that song. And I've got a mother and a brother and a sister that had passed. So it speaks to me. 1, 2, 1. I am a pilgrim and a stranger, traveling through this wearisome land. I've got a home in that yonder city, good Lord, and it's not made by hand. I've got a mother, got a sister and a brother who have been this way before. I am determined, go and see them, good Lord, over on that other shore. I am a pilgrim and a stranger, traveling through this wearisome land. I got a home in yonder city, good Lord, and it's not made by hand. I'm going down to that river of Jordan just to bathe my wearisome soul. If I could just touch the hem of his garment, a good Lord, then I know he'd take me home. I am a pilgrim and a stranger, traveling through this wearisome land. I got a home in yonder city, good Lord, and it's not made by hand. Go ahead, mandolin. I am a pilgrim and a stranger, traveling through this wearisome land. I got a home in yonder city, good Lord, and it's not made by hand. All right. And you know it's not made by hand. All right. Thank you very much. I think we have another one. This is an instrumental, and it's just sort of something we wanted to add to sort of lift your spirits a little bit after about talking about death and everything. I mean, we all got to go, but you know.
It's called Reel de Joie.
Reel de Joie is a Cajun tune, so there we go.
Oh, yeah. The reel of light, joy, reel of joy, right?
Reel of Joy, that's what it says, yes.
What key is this in?
D.
Yeah.
Key of D for those of you following along.
Ready? Yep.
Everybody's taking notes.
That was fun.
All right. Can I just mention, I think I've been playing up here. Dan's been playing here the longest, I think like 10 years or something
13,
like that. 13 years. he's
13
been
years.
Performing.
I skipped a couple, though. I wonder why.
But I think you're the first audience to see him play the fiddle up here.
Oh, well, yeah. It's one
Momentous
of those adult
day,
fiddle things, you know.
Thank you so much, Old Cool. Our closing remarks today will be provided by Will Williams. Will is a combat veteran, Vietnam. He's been a spokesperson for Veterans for Peace for ever so many years. Will has worked in the high schools. Will has been so eloquent. We miss Will's presence, and he's coming back. I give you Will Williams.
You know, time bring about a change. And it seemed like everything has been changing except the attitude of people in this country for violence. War has never been the answer, and it never will. As long as we allow our government to use violence as a means of settling differences, we'll be doing the same shit year after year, and we've been doing it long enough. You know, when they name the people that we've lost in Clarence Kalin's chapter of Best for Peace, I don't think Laura Kalin's name was on that list, but we lost her, and she was a member of Best for Peace. It's been a few years since I spoke, for different reasons. COVID was part of it, health another part. But a few weeks before my wife passed, she had said, I need to get back out and do what I love doing, talking about peace and who would change it, this situation we're in. I said years ago that I believe that the greatest generation was yet to come. It will be the generation that will refuse to go and fight these bullshit wars. It's time for us to learn who the enemy is. The enemy is not across the pond. And I've often wondered what Clarence Kalin would say today if he was here, if he saw what happened on January 6th. You know, would he have marched to D.C. and pick up arms to stop the movement that have been going on in this country for a long time with extremists and white supremacy that have dominated the politics of this country? We elect people to go and represent us, and they don't. They represent the lobbyists, the corporations that butter their toast. They don't give a damn about us. And we must be the ones that fulfill the definition of insanity, because we keep putting them same bastards in office year after year and no change. It made me start to wonder, was I right saying the ones that would bring change were unborn? The children would do it. But now we're losing the children by extremists. Most of it because people fall back and talk about the Second Amendment. Give us this right. When I was written, it was a one-shot musket, you know, and everything have grown since then. But the common sense of knowing that that document didn't mean people could go buy automatic weapons, tanks, or whatever they want. to kill people. There is no reason that an 18-year-old or a 50-year-old could go and buy a weapon that was made for the purpose of war. The kid, and I'll say a kid because I'm almost 80 years old, but it's no way in hell an 18-year-old or a 40-year-old could be able to go to a store and buy a weapon with magazines that hold 30 rounds. We call it banana clips in Nam. And that's what the kid had in Florida. 7 magazines, 210 rounds that he bought on his 18th birthday. And because the NRA and the weapons manufacturers grease the pockets of the politicians, they can't pass a simple-ass bill to ban that crap. So how long do we have to bury our children? How long will they have to have drills to hide in case of a shooter coming in? In my day, it was the duck and cover. You know, you get under the desk, Russia might drop a bomb. But now the kids are taught to fear their peers, people who might be in the same class with you that will come in one day and take your life. So how long will we tolerate it? What do we have to do to change that? And I think it starts with politicians. I've never really believed, when I came back from Nam, I had a feeling about this government that brainwashes, not just in boot camp, but they started at a young age. You know, how long will it take before people understand what Smedley Butler meant when he said war is a racket? How long will it take before they understand what Eisenhower was talking about when he talked about the military-industrial complex? How long will it take till people understand what Dr. King meant when he talked about the money that this country spends on arms instead of for the betterment of its people? We must begin to blame ourselves for this, because if you don't stand up, then your silence becomes betrayal, not just to yourself, but to the generations that will follow you. So I'm saying I don't know how much it'll help for people to get out and vote in November. I don't know if it will change anything, but I do know that if we don't do it, we'll never know what would have happened if we had done it. Because when you got one party that's hell-bent on taking everything that people have struggled and died for, that take you back. You know, we're going to take our country back. Take it back from what? How can one say they own something that they never had? It's up to us. And we're getting old. Most of us are getting old. It's time to pass the baton. But I'm worried, who in the hell will we pass it to if our children are being killed? So I thank everyone for coming out, for remembering, because I look at this day as an alternative to the Memorial Day bullshit that's put on by the government. You know, a lot of people might not like the way I say it, but I believe that that's the way it is. This day has become another day in the time and in the history. Like growing up as a kid, we used to go out with our rakes and hoes and clean graves. But now it's a big barbecue, a big party, you know. And people I don't think even understand what this day actually means. That it was originally Decoration Day, to go and pay homage to those who have given their lives for this country that has never lived up to the creed that it could be. So again, thank everyone. And I'm pissed. I'm pissed because we are in the condition we're in, and enough people are not standing up to change it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Will. Powerful words. Thank you so much. Much honor, much respect. Folks, as you leave this service today, please, we invite you to take a red carnation, take it outside to the monument, to the Lincoln Brigade, and to Clarence Kalin. Place it there. The red carnation has always been a symbol of resistance to oppression. Thank you for being here. Thanks for joining us. Thank you to Steve, to Norm. Thank you to Brian from Left Edge Media. All best to you. Work for peace. I'll see you on the streets.